Welcome. This is Hugh Massie from DNA Behaviour. I'm delighted today to be doing another one of our identity interviews with Danny Liberatore from the Wealth Enrichment Financial Group, a Raymond James financial advisory firm based in Canada. So welcome, Danny.
Welcome, Hugh.
It's fantastic to be spending time with you this afternoon. I can't believe it's been a couple of years since we last saw each other down here in Atlanta when you were training to become one of our certified wealth mentors. So time speeds on by, and I suppose COVID hasn't helped us.
Incredible. It's so nice to see you, Hugh.
So what we're going to do this afternoon, Danny, is we're just going to have a conversation. Sure. And hopefully it concludes on what your identity is and where you want to be in the world and how you're serving all of your clients. So tell me something about your career path to becoming a financial advisor.
Well, it started in my 20s, and like anybody during that age group, you're trying to find your what you like, what you enjoy doing, and so on. I originally wanted to be a teacher. And never. Then the jobs were scarce back then, and I started working with the bank, and I used to help my father out with his own real estate holdings, and so I got into the whole financial side of things. Worked at the bank, took some courses, and I thought, you know what, this is really interesting, and I took a Canadian securities course similar to the SEC in the U.S. Yep. And I just got bitten, and then it took off from there. An opportunity came my way in joining with Raymond James about going on almost 20 years, and here I am.
So 20 years is quite a long time, isn't it, to be with one group and you to be loyal to them and them loyal to you?
Yeah. I mean, it's so easy. It's so easy to get caught up in the grass is greener on the other side. And I don't get caught up in that sort of stuff. I love the fact that, Raymond James is big, but it has that small feel of a company as well. And, so they allow us to run our practice the way we see fit in terms of our clients, and it was a great fit for me. So and I continue to and here I am. I continue doing what I enjoy doing.
So has there been Danny, a pivotal moment in your career, a standout moment?
Yeah, it was during the financial crisis. I did not enjoy that time, and now I would say it's fair to say none of us did.
Yeah.
And so after that really began my journey of trying to understand client behavior and what really understanding where people's thought processes are, how they behave, and what is it that I can do to really understand that better. So that was the trigger point for me. And was because I did not. I you know what, we our portfolios are exposed to the marketplace. There's nothing you can do with volatility. Okay. So, but it's important to understand how clients react when there's volatility, and making sure that what we do is in line with their behavior. Because, Hugh, I'm speaking to the converted. We can't guarantee. I can't guarantee you anything. But I can guarantee one thing: people are going to be 100% irrational when there's irrational moments and volatile moments. So I really wanted to be comfortable in understanding that and working with clients to ensure we're on the same page.
Yeah, definitely how you respond to a problem is going to determine how successful you are at the end of the day. And you can't control the environment around you that much. It's difficult, as you say. Um, and the markets are beyond all of us as far as being able to control them.
Yeah.
Do you think though, at that time when you started to have that realization, in sort of around there in 2008 and 9, or even through 10, when the markets were difficult, they were certainly very up and down before they took their pathway upwards again. Do you think though that your desire to be a teacher also came into play?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I pride myself on the whole education process and being fully transparent to clients and explaining what we're doing. And um, it's interesting how most of my clients are women,
Yeah.
and that's a story on its own, Hugh. How that all evolved. But it's great working with women because it's a great fit for me because it allows um, women don't want to be treated any differently than men, but their communication style is different. They want to be part of the process. They love the education part of it. They want to be explained what is it that I'm doing, um, and they appreciate that.
Yeah, so that's where your teaching comes into play. Your interest in behavioral finance to teach the clients more about that and why they've got to behave a certain way if they're going to be successful.
Yes, for sure.
In terms of managing emotions.
Yes, yes, and it's incredible, um, especially when you have a husband and wife team. Oh, I love it. It's Hugh. I wish you can be in the room because most of the time the wives, the spouses are different. Okay, very different, and um, and it allows and they'll by disclosing the differences between the two. Um, you know, in our industry, in the financial service industry, for the most part, we've done a very poor job in trying to understand women and helping women. Specifically, the whole ignore. A lot of times, they're ignored. Their opinions aren't appreciated, and so on and so forth. So when you have a husband and wife team there, and they're so different, um, the advisor almost has to have the flexibility to put on different hats.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you put it all on the table and you explain why the husband or the wife think differently, I mean they get these aha moments. And then I'll be very and then when tell the wife, listen, I'm going to talk to your husband this way. And I don't want you to feel you're ignored because I'm going to bring you back into the conversation. But he wants to be talked a certain way. She goes, yeah, I get it. No, I get it. I won't feel. I'm not going to. I'll be engaged. It's all right. You do what you got to do. And then I bring the wife back into the play, into the conversation, and it just and the connection is incredible because both now feel, wow, you know what? Danny really has an interest and really wants to understand how we are as individuals and as a couple.
So you're doing what I have recommended to everybody is you've got to involve both in the conversation, treat them on their terms. I think you've got to, particularly with the female, if she is not the breadwinner or the creator of the wealth, you've got to make her even more involved. In the conversation, but not leave the man feeling left out either. And how you have both of them engaged is so important.
And Hugh, This is very important. This is just me speaking. Okay, how other advisors want to manage it is up to them. But I'm really, and a lot of my how I've been brought up comes into play here. Okay, going through this process, especially when you're dealing with new clients or potential new clients, um, and the man plays the lead role.
Yeah.
Okay, and and to the point where, and most couples are okay with that. That one person may take a lead role. That's and I understand that. But if it gets to the point where the wife is totally ignored and is not respected in the conversation and in the planning, Dan Dan gets a little, how can I say it, pretty blunt. I won't take them on as clients.
Yeah.
And the husband, and I'll be straight up with the husband. I'll say, listen, this relationship is not going to work until you're able to appreciate what your wife is able to contribute to this to our conversation. Unless you are open to that, we're not going anywhere. And that's how I play it, you. Um,
It's a very, in its own right, that's a very important message for every other advisor out there to hear, because at the end of the day, if you have one of the husband, wife, or spouse partnership disengaged, you'll have a problem. If you just as the advisor have one disengaged, that's a problem. It's a problem in the marriage. It's a problem in the family. Having any one of the parties disengaged in any way will always mean a leg on the stool is broken.
well, I mean, you can even look at it from a business standpoint, Hugh. So let's play this out, okay? Advisor takes the clients on. Good, great assets, some really great revenue potential for revenue growth, so on and so forth. There's a business case, okay? All along, that client, the advisor, strictly works with the husband. Wife is ignored, right? Life happens, and something happens to this husband, and he passes away. What are your chances of retaining retaining the wife as a client?
Yep.
If you totally ignored her throughout the relationship, it's as good as it's a done deal. That client, she's gone. She comes across as an advisor like myself that appreciates what she has to offer. I'll take that account's going to be. I'll be taking that account.
Yeah, and you've now got a client for life. So what is it in your talents that enable you to engage both the husband and the wife for providing services for the long term?
Can you repeat that, Hugh?
So what is it about your talents? Like, what's your standout talent?
Yeah.
For keeping the client engaged?
Sure. Especially with couples. Or no, you know what? Even I think it's the part of humility of knowing that you don't have all the answers, and that this is a partnership, and there are times where the client is going to be offering some suggestion that's just going to turn something on, saying, wow, you know what? I didn't look at it that way. I think it's worth exploring. It's the advisor's ability to check their ego at the door, but with confidence that, and knowing that you don't have all the answers, and that you're open.
Do you also work at it and making it fun for them to participate?
Oh yeah, especially with the husband and wife. This turns. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, it's really fun. It really is, because you'll see. You'll see the wife just screaming at the husband. and say, "See, you don't listen to me. This is how I am. Do you understand?" It gets really, really fun,
Because you're
and
very,
they're very lighthearted when when the blame game comes into play here. It's all fun, but it's really, really interesting to see the dynamics of that. Yeah.
because as an engager style in your financial
Hmm.
DNA style, that's something that I would see happening is you making it fun. You're more outgoing in that way, which provides a lot of connectivity and relaxes people.
And yeah, and more, you may. And what's really important is the fact is that I share my own profile with the client, because then not only will I understand the excuse me not only will I understand the client, but the client now understands where I'm coming from and my style, and I'm prepared. There are times where I'm prepared to make adjustments as well to accommodate the client. Um, and hopefully, in the conversation, the client will understand where I'm coming from and make adjustments accordingly if this relationship is gonna work as well.
And I think, that's again something else we've always said is if you can share your own style. So, like, I'm an initiator, strategist type person, but mainly an initiator. But the sharing that with the clients and talking about that as well builds a lot of trust. You're putting yourself out there, a little bit bare as well, not just expecting them to be. Both parties are now vulnerable, and it's being authentic. At the end of the day, you are a leader of the clients, and this is a great way to do it.
Yeah.
So what situations do you find yourself most confident in? When do you feel your confidence is at its highest?
Um, Specifically around the financial DNA reporting.
Well, it can be in anything, but or just generally speaking, in working with a client, in life. When do you feel most confident?
When I have a process in place, and I'm not process driven kind of guy.
Yeah.
I mean, uh, a lot of stats and stuff like that, and data really bogs me down. Okay, but when I do have a process in place and I stick to that process, um, that I become very confident in my decision making process. And what's interesting, the moment I veer away from that, for whatever reason, especially if my emotions leads the decision making process, it comes back to bite me.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was going to ask, what is a derailer for you? And I suppose that is emotions getting in the way when you don't follow a process.
Yeah. Yeah, and the financial DNA is part of it. It's incredible how now that the financial DNA process has forced me to also review how I do and manage the rest of my practice.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you about your the financial DNA a little bit more specifically. So what did the financial DNA discovery, doing your natural behavior discovery, tell you about you?
It was interesting. I wasn't that surprised with the results, but it was my biases, my that that I found very interesting and bang on. How some of the on how that the strengths can also be my weaknesses.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the strengths is that you're can be spontaneous,
Yep.
or or on that, and what that really means is that you can be very intuitive,
Uh-huh.
flexible in your thinking. So how does that play out when you're advising clients?
Um, well, especially, for example, the status quo bias,
Yeah.
okay, that I have, is, Hugh, that is such a huge thing for me because that status quo bias. Now I've taken that and turned my wealth management side right upside down, and in making sure that I've got a process and a rules based process in managing money.
Yeah. So what you've done in understanding the status quo bias, which is, and just for our listeners, um, comes with the strength of being content, wanting stability, is that you've built sort of a very strong, stable foundation with processes, and comes with that, Danny, is that is a desire for lifestyle yourself. Like it's
Yes.
having a comfortable lifestyle for yourself and being quite predictable,
Hmm.
and fun. And so that I imagine is something that's part of it as well.
Oh yeah.
The
I
good
mean,
life.
I've always enjoyed having fun and putting my family first. Um, but unfortunately, well, or fortunately, um, I paid a price earlier on in me not recognizing that, and putting work first. Um, and yeah, I did pay a price that I learned from it, knowing the fact that family for me, family comes first. I need um, but at the same time, planning for the future as well. Yeah, you don't want to be irresponsible. Um, but it, I just, I just wish, hey, you know what? It's so easy to go back, in feeling that you wish you knew this better and you wish you knew your priorities were much clearer earlier on. But you live and learn, and you hopefully play a positive role in helping other people.
So the main thing is that you've got your own priorities right now.
Yep.
You've sorted out that balance, and maybe there was a point where you had to work hard, and there's a sacrifice for that, but you've figured out now how you can have what you want to have, by building processes in the
Yes.
business. That's what I hear out of it. But stability is important. But tell me a little bit more about the guide to the good life that you've been working on and reading, and how you're going to bring that to your business.
Um, that's an incredible book, and I don't want to come across as me pushing anything in any way. It's just incredible how reading is able to enlighten you. And so I came across this book called The Guide to the Good Life, and it's um, it's based on a Stoic philosophy. Writings of Marcus Aurelius and all that sort of stuff. But the basis of it is, what's your purpose in life? Okay. And that's why this is incredible, Hugh. I go through the financial DNA process. I'm overhauling some of my own practices. I come across this book, and now we're having this conversation. And at the end of the day, really, what the purpose for me, and I would agree with some of these teachings, is to achieve tranquility and peace of mind. And how do you do that? Well, that's not easy. Easier said than done, because in order to achieve tranquility, there's certain things that you need to remove from your life, certain things you need to accept, and there's hard truths. And is an individual prepared to go down that road in the pursuit of tranquility.
And is that a conversation you're now having with clients to help them find their own tranquility, or to teach them how to find their tranquility?
In a roundabout way. I won't, I won't bring I won't mention this book or anything like that. It's just part of trying to understand what that client's purpose is. My purpose in life may be very different than that individual's, but I understand that that this whole meaning of purpose is very individual. But the fact that that word purpose now is part of my vocabulary, I now try to understand what is it that my clients' purposes are.
So that's where I was going. So the work that you're doing is to help clients find their purpose, and from that becomes the platform for setting their goals.
Absolutely.
Which then drives the financial choices they'll make, the family choices that they will make.
Yeah.
So it's really the purpose-driven life, packaged up a little bit differently, but that's what this book has helped you come to the place of.
I would agree. Yes. Yes.
I've always been an advocate of purpose, because once you have purpose, you have clarity, and it's easier to keep your feet on the ground and know what you're getting out of bed for every day.
But that's an incredible journey, because for some clients, it could be very emotional, because it's not like you ask this question, okay, what's your purpose, and they have an immediate answer. I mean, some will tell you right away. Others, you need to probe more deeply into it as to why they do that, what they do. Why is certain things important to them? And just by they'll give you one answer, and then you dive more deep into it until they really get that aha moment, saying, yeah, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing.
I think it's a good question, Danny, to be asking clients fairly early on in the planning process, what's your purpose? Because you'll find out a lot about them, where they're at. The clients that can immediately answer it and are living it, then you know that you've got a higher chance probably of having a fairly committed client to their decisions, and it's just more educating them on the financial strategy, versus those that don't know, you might have to spend more time with.
Sure. I mean, that really leads to understand client expectations, making sure that you're on the same page, really putting a plan in place that is customized to their own goals and purposes of what they're trying to achieve. There's a lot of benefits that the client gets out of truly understanding what money means to them.
Yeah, because what money means to a person, I believe, is connected to their purpose. Once you get that right in the right order, if you can find the purpose, then you'll find what money means to you.
But let's take this further, though, Hugh. By understanding the client's purpose, the client then now leaves with the feeling of wow, that advisor Danny really made an effort in understanding me and really trying to understanding me, what I'm trying to achieve, what's important to me. I mean, and at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. You want to keep your client, and you want to make sure that you guys are on the same page.
So if the client feels understood by you, Danny, they will stay with you for life. And
for sure,
it's then really just asking them, a question or two every year that's impactful around their purpose, and they'll feel connected.
Yep.
And I think that's the holy grail for advisors, to be able to do that. And it seems like for you, who's got a person that likes to teach people, this is something that's important, that you can guide them, coach them, mentor them on that journey.
Yeah. It's for me. It's that's very rewarding, knowing that you've taught somebody something new. You're very transparent, and at the end of the day, the client understands what is it that we're trying to achieve, and you either enjoy that or you don't.
So if we pull all this together a little bit, what do you see, Danny, your identity as? What's that higher place that you want to be remembered as, where your impact in the world, the community, with your clients is? What do you see that sort of being defined as?
Hmm. That's a really great question. It's a number of fronts. Uh, my purpose is on a number of levels. First, the legacy I want to leave my own family, my children. What is it that what is it that my kids think about me as a man, as a father? You know, um, my own clients. Um, what legacy do I leave with my clients? Because someday, I'll move on. And knowing that here was an advisor that was extremely honest, that cared about us, that wanted to do the right thing. And then you have community. What legacy do I want to leave to my for my community? How involved do I want to be in giving back to those that are less fortunate? Being remembered, I want to be remembered on a number of fronts, not from a pure selfish standpoint. You know what? That's being remembered is a result of servicing others. And whatever comes out of it, Hugh. You either have the calling to service or you don't. If you have a calling to service, which I feel I do, whatever benefits come out of it, Hugh.
So that's the legacy part, and I think you've used an important word or term there, call to service. But do you think your call to service is around helping people find their purpose and their
Wow.
relationship to money? So do you think that's where your highest impact in the world is going to be?
I think you hit the nail right on the head. Yeah, absolutely. Um,
So you're really the purpose-driven advisor, you know?
wow. That is that is awesome. Yeah. My because at the end of the day, my purpose specifically vis-a-vis my clients is to really bring that to life. And if I can do that, that's that's got to be the ultimate high. I mean, that's you can't. I mean, you can't explain that. I mean, that's a feeling, that's an emotion when you're able to help an individual understand what their own purpose is with their with finances, with family, and what they want to do as an individual to the community. I mean, um, that would be an incredible accomplishment.
And I think that's the greatest opportunity that an advisor has who's got themselves centered like you have, um, that to help a client find their purpose and then connect them to their money in that order, and build a financial plan. And from that, that's where they're going to get tranquility. Because once you have that, really the stress and pressure, a lot of it's going to go away. And so I think that, from what we talked about today, you teaching people how to live a purpose-driven life or build a purpose-driven plan is where you're going to have great impact. And everything else in terms of legacy meaning is going to come out of that for you, but also for them.
Hugh, I can't begin to thank you for this, for giving me the opportunity to speak to you, because this is really, really, when I'm able to articulate or when we as human beings are able to communicate how we feel and why we do what we do, um, it becomes so ingrained, and it takes us to another level. And I really want to thank you for this.
Well, that's an absolute pleasure. And I've really enjoyed talking to you today, Danny. And I'm going to get the book, The Guide to the Good Life, myself, because
You'll love it, Hugh.
yeah, because it's a very big part of this is a very big part of what I do. And if you want to read a book, there's one called The Power of Identity by Bill Wursmer. I'll email you the details.
Okay.
I think that'll give you an extra dimension to think about this in, because it's about impact. And so, we talked a little bit about talents, what you like doing as an advisor, your approach. But at the end of the day, the impact is what's important. And you're working towards your impact being in the purpose area.
Yes.
And like me, you're still a young man. There's so many people you're going to impact to live a life based on purpose.
It's nice when my son tells me, Dad, I wish I had your life. And I say to him, Michael, there's nothing prevents you from having it. And when he says that, I can look at it in so many ways. And I guess the reason why he says that, obviously, he must be witnessing something, or how I carry myself and what I do. So.
And I think for all of us, confidence is something very important. That's why I asked that question before. And your confidence will come even more and more as you focus on this.
100%. 100%. Thank you, Hugh.
That's a pleasure. And if you've got any other tip you want to give out to the world?
Be yourself.
Fantastic. All right, Danny. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Hugh.